Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Dadsigner Podcast. I am Michael Smith, your host, and I am joined today by Jesse Goldman. Hey, Jesse, welcome to the show.
Hey, Michael. I am so happy to be here. I also love this gentle NPR energy you're coming in with today. This is it's very Terry Gross, you know?
I have to say, Guy Raz, his cadence from How I Built This has influenced me quite a bit.
Wait, can you do an impression? Because I don't think I know. I think I might know Guy Raz. Give me some Guy Raz.
There's a little bit of nasalness.
Well, that's NPR.
Welcome back to the show, and today we're here with Jesse Goldman, and we're going to talk about his business.
Am I the first guest to goad you into an impression?
You are, and should I be surprised because you are, from what I've read on the internet, a comedian, a designer, a dad, and more. Why don't you tell a little bit about who you are, what you do, and a bit about your family?
I would love to. Yeah, I was listening to previous episodes, and I heard you ask this question of the most recent guest you had on, guy from Greece and now lives in the UK. What's his name?
Yes. David Walker.
David Walker. I almost said Walton. David Walker. Listen to that one. Was a great episode. He's a lovely human being as you are as well. And the question you asked this question, and I was like, oh, he's going to ask me this question. I'm not going to have a good answer because I feel like I have been like one foot in one world and one in another my entire career. And I'll do a quick thing on it. I'm from Long Island, New York. I went to school in New York City, School of Visual Arts. I started as a film major, and I wasn't very good at it because I'm very intimidated by being on a set and telling people what to do. It really scared me and intimidated me. And I didn't want to become an animation major, even though I like drawing, because I just saw a very one-track career there. Like you can just like Disney or Cartoon Network, and I don't know where you go beyond that, you know. And graphic design seemed big enough that like, okay, maybe I can find something in there. And I did, and I stumbled into motion graphics, which became like the perfect blend of like, oh, I can do video, filmmaker, but I can do it just with me and a computer. I don't have to like be intimidated by talking to people or like doing lighting or anything like that. When I graduated, my first job was on the on-air promo team at Comedy Central. And that was like, I cannot believe the luck I had in getting that job. And this is like 2007 is when I graduated. And this is a time in New York City where if you knew how to open After Effects, you could get a job. You could like command like a $400 day rate at 22 years old. And I could have freelanced around and just like up that day rate every time I went to a different boutique studio because they were a dime a dozen. And I never did. I stayed at Comedy Central. And I didn't really know why until I figured out like, oh, it's because I just love being near comedy. I love being here. I love doing promos for South Park, for The Daily Show, for The Colbert Report. I was just enamored with comedy. And I'd been living in New York City for 10 years at that point. And there was a massive exodus of New Yorkers to LA for this like comedy boom that was starting to happen. Like, this is like when John Mulaney was just a stand-up. Nick Kroll was just a guy who would come to Comedy Central, do like a branded spot for Dr. Pepper or something like that. You know, like names that were all like household names now. I saw this happening, and I was just like, I'm going to leave this life that I feel very familiar with and very, very comfortable with, and I'm going to move to LA. And from there, I got really involved at the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater. I was doing improv for like 4.5 something years. And to bring this back to design is that, you know, I was a white Jewish guy interested in comedy. And if you can believe it, there are more than one of me out here in LA. There was tons of me out here. And the only way I could differentiate myself was like, well, I know how to design, and you guys all need promotion, and you have videos you want to make. So that's how I got on a sketch team at UCB, is because I was the only one who knew After Effects in the sketch comedy improv world. And that's how I got a job at Funny or Die, was because no one was a graphic designer. Everybody wanted to be a writer or a performer, and I was the only one who was like, I'll make videos for you that require almost no actors whatsoever, or I can make all your stuff look way more professional, like way better. And then that's how I got a job at BuzzFeed, because the social content boom of the 2010s was happening, and they needed folks who could, again, make videos that didn't require like an actor. I did some voice acting and stuff for my own videos, but with After Effects and design background, you can kind of do a lot of stuff. And I had some viral hits there, and then I became a senior art director at Super Deluxe. But calling me an art director is like a bit of a misnomer, because I was also pitching ideas and I was making them and I was directing sometimes. And so I've always been in the entertainment industry. I've been like the funniest graphic designer, and I've been like the least funny comedian with the most marketable skill. And have I been great at either one of these jobs? Not really, but you can if you are the minority in that group with a niche, I've been able to ping pong back and forth, constantly leveraging like, I'm funny and talented, or like I'm talented but I can secretly do comedy for you. And so I've just sort of leveraged them as I've continued to go. And now the entertainment industry, I'm not sure if you've read in the news, it is a bloated corpse that's washed up on the beach, and people are wondering what the hell to do. Now that there's really few places for people who work in entertainment to make a living and support their family and feed their children, I've pivoted to the tech world, where my comedy is like a little bit useful, but less so. And now I do comedy completely for myself, which is a level of bravery I never actually had. Like on my Instagram account, continuing the comments, that came from me being a new dad and realizing I wanted to do stand-up comedy for the first time, like really badly. And there's no way I'm doing a show at 11 p.m. I'm asleep at 9:30. There's no way it's happening. So like, well, I know how to edit. I know the language of social media. Like, this is where I record this stuff, like the yellow door. I just do it right here. And so I started doing stuff to camera. And it scratches enough of an itch for me to feel like I'm making comedy. And it's not just like crowd work clips, right? Like, I'm not like Matt Rife just like making fun of like, like married women. I could add all this motion graphic stuff to it. So again, it's like I'm this and I'm that, and I'm always going to try and put the other thing on top of it and see if I can find success that way. And I always find enough success to keep going and not to completely quit.
Yeah. Did you ever see the show Crashing with Pete Holmes?
Absolutely. Yeah, the first season was great.
Yes. I'm not sure if he was better at comedy or handing out flyers on the corner.
Right? But that's what like entertainment, clawing your way through the entertainment industry, unless you're a nepo baby, in which like you're pretty solid. And I'm sorry, entertainment industry, forget that. Creative industry, any creative professional industry, as a solopreneur yourself, I'm sure you do this podcast because there is doing the creative work, there's maintaining clients, but man, is the labor pool pretty populated now. We're competing against people who are younger than us, people who've left bigger jobs and going off on their own. You have to find some way to differentiate yourself, and you have to be really good at, of course, I'm going to say marketing yourself, but it's a little more subtle than that, right? It's a little bit more of an angle. It's and branding. There's some of these terms that are so used to our industry that I hesitate to use because it feels so lazy. If I say you have to brand yourself, you're a brand of one, and just like, oh. But it is true. It's absolutely true.
Yeah. And you have 2 kids?
I do. I have an almost 3-year-old who is very much in his three-nager era, and I have a 2-month-old who, by comparison, is a sweet little angel boy.
Nice. I just had this random thought of making teenage mutant Ninja Turtles. 3-nagers.
And they have to be bad guys. They have to be agents
They're
of
just
chaos. Teenage Mutant Ninja
Um,
Turtles is genuinely a very, very funny idea. Do something with that and hashtag parenting, and I promise you, your follower count is going to triple overnight. Because if you can slide anything like man, is parenting comedy online like the lowest bar? If you can do anything that has like an iota of originality or left of center thought, you'll get a lot of traction. I've only done like a couple of videos about parenting, and man, do people love it, because we are, parents. We're just like, please see me. I am invisible in my life.
well, that's what happened when I put out a call on Threads like, hey, are you a dad and designer? The number of people that were like, it's me. He's talking to me.
Me. And I DM'd you or whatever I did on however you were used Threads. But I was so flattered that I'm sure you probably got 100 people saying, like, please, I need to talk to someone about this.
But I also need people to talk to too. So.
Yeah.
It's a two-way street. It's why I came up with the name and keep it, is because it attracts people to this and to other things. So it's really good. When you do your comedy, your reels and whatnot for Instagram, do you primarily do design jokes, or is it all over the place?
I got to tell you, that's a great question, because I started doing some design related stuff. It really, the real impetus for making the videos was because, so I had started a studio during COVID with some friends. We were fully remote, and we were servicing the entertainment industry because we all came from the entertainment industry. And we had a streamer. Out of politeness, I'll remove the name. A streamer that was essentially our main client. And then when this is pre-strikes, but a major economic contraction was happening. And this streamer went from having like 1,000 small vendors to getting rid of everybody and having 3 main colossal vendors just to churn their stuff out for social media and promotion and marketing and stuff like that. And we were one of the small ones, and we lost our main client. And we very quickly did not have enough runway, because what happens? You get trapped in like a big client. They demand everything from you. You don't have enough time to do biz dev and diversify. We got caught flat-footed, and we had to shrink down the business. And I had to go find income like really quick. And this is then we're talking into the strikes, when the entertainment industry, no one was working, and I was out of work. I wasn't making money for like the better part of a year. My wife was like the sole income for our family of a little kid, and she was not pregnant with her second yet. So, and I had been working regularly for, I've been doing this for like almost 20 years, and I could not find work. And I knew at the very least, like, well, I know I can work, and and I'm good at a job when I'm given a job. But the problem is no one knows I exist, because I haven't worked in an office in a long time. And sometimes working in an office is a way for people to remember you, to be, oh, I'll bring Jesse along, or do, X, Y, Z. I thought, well, I got to promote myself, and I know I can be funny. So let's just make a video about design, because that'll at least maybe get some attention and post it on LinkedIn. So I made a few videos, and I was posting them on my generalized account on Instagram, where I put like art and a family picture or whatever. And I thought, you know what? What I should really do is just start a dedicated account to it, just as a backup. Let me just do that. Throw the name, continue to the comments in the actual name. It wasn't claimed. And I uploaded all the videos at once, because I just had them, whatever. And of course, the luck there was the algorithm was like, whoa, look at you posting 12 times a day. You're a power user. And I think it really pushed a lot of my videos out. And the biggest one, of course, it's not a surprise to me at all, was this video, Cranky Advice for Graphic Designers. Okay, if we look at that analytically, it is a niche audience, graphic designers. It is like glorifying our victimization, which graphic designers, every creative professional loves to talk about how the client is a nightmare. And so that was, and it was listicle format. So like all this stuff, and they were good jokes, right? But all the stuff it had going for it. And I went from like, it was a count that I'd made with like maybe 3 followers. And then I like grabbed close to 8,000 followers in the process, like 2 months, 3 months, something like that. Is it an amazing number? No, but for me, it was pretty cool. So I tried to keep it graphic design focused, but I got really burnt out on that because I didn't want to be a meme account. You know what I mean? There's like dank art director memes and stuff like that, and I get that, but like, there's, to me, in comedy, there is a qualitative difference between memes and joke writing. And I think memes are a little bit more of a equal footing. It's anonymous, and the less you inside the meme, the more it spreads, the more, no one gets credit for a meme unless it's way after the fact, right? This had to be about me. So I didn't want to do Cranky Designers part 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, because that just becomes lazy and I'm not interested in that. And so I started broadening it out to like, what is it that I want people to even take away from this, from me? And what is the job I want to attract people? If this is a portfolio piece, what is it I want people to walk away with? And I wanted to think of me as a creative director and one who can focus on comedy. So let me talk about our industry, but then let me just talk about like what it's like being a creative professional. And because that's a huge group of people. And there's a lot that those people are, it's not gendered. It's not specific to software or even a practice. And then there also became, and this is just like I don't know, this is like the high school punker in me, but there's a big part of me, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to name some names here. I started getting very frustrated with the proliferation of Chris Doe's content. The guy from the future, that school. I have paid money for future classes. I think there are some wonderful resources there, and I personally know a couple folks who've been in that world. They're wonderful. I don't think Christo is an evil or malicious person. I think he's a very decent person trying to do his best. But I do think there was this hustle bro LinkedIn optimization sales funnel thing that started leaking into our industry. And that's okay that it exists, but it kind of became the only conversation as a creative professional. And I just felt like someone needs to provide some fuck off energy to this conversation. You need to have both. No one's providing this. So I felt like, okay, I'm not sure if this is going to turn off clients or ruin my career or anything like that, but someone needs to be a little salty in this conversation, because I think we're getting like, our industry is in a bit of a crisis, and a bit of an identity crisis and a financial crisis. And the conversation cannot just be like, here's how to 10x your clients. There's more to this than that, because it's our lives and it's our livelihood and it's supporting our families. And I don't subscribe to the idea that it's just like, well, you're just not optimizing hard enough. Like, we need to talk about it's fucking hard. And like, massive companies are the ones that are kind of pigeonholing us and making it harder to work and replacing us with AI. Like, we got to talk about this stuff, and no one else is talking about it. Did that answer the question?
It did. Well, one of the things that I love that you said, what's the difference between the meme world and real comedy? Because I think the internet has glorified the meme culture. It's easy, it's cheap. One example, and it's pseudo-political, but it's actually not political at all. The Pope just recently died, and the number of people that tweeted that about who's the vice president?
Oh, JD Vance.
Seeing him right before he passed away, and how that was the connection of the death. Like 300 different variations of the same joke. And I'm like, regardless of what you think politically, it's just bad. It's like not a good joke.
Yeah, it's a bubblegum joke. Yeah, it loses flavor immediately. Like you see it once, like, oh, that's funny. Yeah, I would have thought of that. And the second and third, and then the 100th time, like, oh my god, please, someone say something else about this.
Yeah, because it's the obvious joke. It's not the thoughtful one.
I love the way you put that, and I think whenever I don't do a lot of videos, I don't crank them out because I used to work at BuzzFeed, and obvious versus thoughtful is a wonderful way to frame how itchy I felt at that company. I was older when I was hired there, in the sense that I was 30 years old and everyone else was 18 months. I don't know. They were all little babies. And I was coming from, I'd already lived a life in New York City, and I did years in sketch and improv, and then Funny or Die, and just being a smug, opinionated New Yorker. Obvious versus thoughtful. It was a company built on, like, make the obvious version, make it now, and then make it 5 more times slightly differently, because you're fighting the current of the algorithm, and the way you win is by volume. And as much as I've wanted, continued in the comments, to be a volume game, so I can win and get more eyeballs, I'm not physically capable of doing that, because I want to prioritize thoughtful opportunity I have. I want to make something that people will say, will take away, like, well, at least he thought this through. At least there was it feels like I was given a full meal. That's the thing. And I increasingly miss. It's harder. It's harder to find, not just because of how much stuff is out there, but my attention span is also eroding like anybody else's. So I don't know how to win, but if anyone likes any of my videos and they watch it all the way through, I'm like, you deserve an award for that. Thank you.
Well, I mean, you also have a 3-year-old and an 18-month-old. We were chatting right when we got on about how tired we both are. It's 2:00 in the afternoon for me. It's 11 a.m. for you. And I was like, I'm crashing, and you're like, oh yeah, it's nap time for you.
Yeah. Yesterday, I am not a soda drinker, but I have gotten. I'm a coffee drinker, of course, but I've just gotten into like the mini cans of Coke, because I need something hard and sweet to hit my veins for like the caffeine, and also just to feel alive for a second. So that's kind of gets me through the second half of the day. But I do feel kind of gross drinking Coca-Cola. There's like straight original flavor Coca-Cola. It's like I'm not supposed to do that as a 40-year-old man. But you know what? I got to take my wins where I can get them. My joy.
That's true. It's true. Especially when your kids are difficult to get to sleep, and then you don't get to sleep, and then you still have things to do.
Oh my god, the sleep is always going to be the thing. And with 2, it's like it is the sleep, but then I realize even if the sleep is good, I'm still tired, and it's because the day starts and you're trying to fight. They're like, no, we're not going to do TV. We're not going to watch a movie this morning. It's 5 a.m. Like, we're not going to do TV. Let's read a book. Daddy, read the book. And so we're doing this, and then it's like by the time he has to get out the door for school, I'm like, oh my god, I just like was working for 3.5 hours. Like I'm so tired just from being like engaging all the time, constantly engaging, because you want to be a good dad. You want to be a good dad.
Yeah. Are you a morning ideator? Like, do you wake up and you're like, oh man, I got like 17 thoughts, or has that changed?
I've always been a morning person. I remain a morning person. I wish I could get stuff done at night, but like I'm pretty much cooked by, used to be later. Now it's like 9:30 is when, I think with 2 kids, man. You have 2 kids, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
When is your personal, like, regardless of when you can actually go to sleep, when is your body like, go sleep now, please?
10:30.
Oh, that's lovely. You're a marathon man.
But it's 9:15. I'm getting ready for bed and in bed, and then reading. So on consistent basis, it's 10:30. But some nights it's 9:45, or
Did you ever think you'd be going to bed at 9:45?
No. Because I used to, so like the Dadsigner name originally was like a blog back when blogs were like a thing in the 2010s to 15s. And I would stay up and write at night. And I would be on the couch or I'd be in bed, like typing away and editing pictures. And as soon as our second came, I was like, I cannot do this anymore. Like the blog went from like two posts a week to one post a week to once a month to once a quarter to once a year.
Dude, this is what so continuing the comments led to me meeting I have a podcast called The Mood Board, and I do this with my friend who is an actual touring stand-up comedian. We met each other through Instagram because he saw my stuff and I had seen a bit of his earlier. We got coffee. We're kind of the same person, in the sense that I'm a designer who is trying to convince people I'm funny, and he's a professional comedian who's trying to convince people that he actually has like incredible taste, which he does. So we started doing our podcast. I built a set in my garage. It was so much fun. I did that all when we had one kid and my wife was pregnant, and we were recording like once a week. And now that I have two, I've canceled on him more times than we've been able to even schedule. We just did a first remote episode the other day because he's in Culver City. I'm the other side of LA in Tahunga. And just with two kids, I mean, the cadence at which we can release an episode and record an episode is completely at the whims of like, do we have childcare? What time of day? Am I sick? Is my child sick? Is my other child sick now?
Yeah. I recently got back from a creative conference. I have to be careful how I phrase this because I'm not saying it in a negative light.
You can with me. I'm an incredibly negative person. Go ahead.
This is being recorded. Other people will listen to this conversation. I don't know if you know how podcasting works.
I've already self-immolated by throwing Chris Dell under the bus. Someone's going to come for me.
But at this conference, there were multiple talks about personal projects that people had done. And like, we're not talking like, oh, I did an invite for like a baby shower. Like, we're talking multi-year, many hour long personal projects. Super cool, amazing. And I realized when I got home that none of the people that did that had kids.
Right.
And I was like, I love this. I love this message. I agree with you. And also, when am I going to do that?
And your kids are older than mine, so I was hoping you were going to have some answers for me. Like, oh yeah, don't worry, you get more time. Is that apparently?
Well, you don't get to choose what your kids are interested in. I mean, you can like kind of direct it, but like all of a sudden they're into gymnastics and soccer, and now you're at the gym and on the field and trying to support them.
You can't get them into networking. You can't get them into teach them how to edit the podcast clips. Social media manager. I mean,
that would be great. My 11-year-old might be close. Hey, can you edit Dad's podcast for him? Now you have me thinking. Or I need to find a Three-Age Mutant Ninja Turtle to do it. So outside of the comedy stuff, you do design work, and now you're in-house at a tech company. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah. I work in the tech world. I never thought I would be here. It was always a very foreign, and it was a slightly impenetrable world to me. I actually had a very difficult time transitioning from entertainment to tech as I was interviewing around. I think because, and I'm not going to say this, but I'm not going to name my current employer just because I don't want them to ever think I'm ever speaking ill of them. Because my team is lovely and the people who've hired me are genuinely like lovely people. But other tech companies and tech adjacent companies that I interviewed with, it just felt like I got no traction because I couldn't work at a tech company unless I worked at a tech company. And no one had the creativity to see my resume and my work and be like, well, yeah, he can do the job. The job is not that different. And it's completely not. It's motion graphics are relatively the same. Design principles, design thinking are still the same across the board. But it took my current creative director when he was interviewing me to be like a genuinely interesting person with cool taste. And he knew that he was a fan of Super Deluxe when I used to work there. So we got to talk about that. And I got lucky that way, that sort of opened the door for me into the tech world. I'm so appreciative of it. and the work I do with them is so different than entertainment, because prior to this, the work I'm doing now, I was at Taylor Tomlinson's late night show After Midnight. I was working there, which recently is now ending, actually. But when you're the design guy in the entertainment world, the standard of quality is like, is it done? Great, get it on the air. And it's very different than these tech jobs that have like really baked brand guidelines, and it's less explorative, but the rigor is way, the standard for it is way higher, which was a bit of a learning curve for me, because I'm used to like, hey, is it funny? Did we accomplish the job of it being entertaining and funny? Great, send it out. The fact that I can name a font in the entertainment world made me a savant designer. Whereas I'm probably, I'm like a punching at exactly my weight on a good day at my current company. There are a lot of very, very, very talented people I get to work with.
Yeah, that's such a good point. Having worked in the tech world for a while, who you had worked for in the past meant a lot. Yeah, it's a real thing. And they can also take their time making decisions.
That is true. Yeah. Very different than my previous jobs, which were especially in social media, which was like, did we miss the moment? Can we still talk about this thing? Like, is that meme, is this joke dead now? Is this event over? Like, we have to move fast. It has to be good enough, and it has to be fast.
Well, this was a lot of fun. I have 2 more questions though, before we go and you tell people where to find you. But they are, what has been your greatest parenting success? And what has been your greatest parenting learning or failure?
You prepped me for this question, and I prepped myself for this question by listening to previous episodes, and I'm worried my answers will not be poignant enough. But I'm going to give you my success answer is it's going to seem a little lazy, but you know what? It is continuing to get through the day and make sure my kids are set up for success and prioritizing them. I like to think that I'm being graded on a learning curve. I'm not graded at every single day. And part of that success is me going back to therapy. Shout out therapy, hell yeah! Feeling better about all that, but showing up for my kids and my wife and our family unit is like, and I don't know, man, just doing that, just being there every single day is a major success. And then the learning, it's interesting you bring up the convention you went to and the side project thing, because I think one of the biggest things that I had to learn with a second kid, it was less an issue with having one, because he's now old enough to be at school and I had more time during the day and we didn't have need childcare at home while we're working. One of the biggest things I had to learn was that, like, I'm a person who's thrived on side projects my entire life. The second I graduated design school and I was at Comedy Central, I was like, I want to be working in comedy now. I want to be making comedy. I want to pitch TV shows. And the second I was pitching TV shows, I was doing into something else. I want to learn Blender. Like, there's always the next thing I want to be interested in doing. And I've always had time for that. I've always had the bandwidth for that. One of the hardest things to learn is to learn the selflessness necessary for everyone in my house to be successful, to be happy, to be fed, and to be thriving. And there's a sacrifice of like, you know what? All that time that I cherished and I held on to, and was so important to me and precious to me, and I have so little of it now. I have to accept the fact that I only get to do this if I can steal it during the day, if I have a light work day, or when I go to bed. And that was a tough thing for me to accept. I really kind of got there kicking and screaming. And it really bummed me out for quite a while, because that was my identity. That was my identity and my opportunity to the next thing. and my way to keep my career going, because I'm always worried that my career is just cooked and over, knowing like, I just have less time, less bandwidth to do that was a little bit of an ego death. I have to admit it was tough to embrace, but it's okay because I love these things. I love these two animals that they're growing up and he just got a haircut yesterday. He looks great. My 2-month-old is smiling, and like, these are temporary states, and there will one day be a time when I have too much time on my hands again. So I have to embrace that too. But that was a big learning. It was a big thing to learn.
Yeah. Such a good reminder. Well, I appreciate you coming on and talking about all of these things. If folks want to find you, your work, connect with you, where are all the places they can go to do that?
Oh my gosh. Well, first and foremost, all my comedy, like my solo stuff, is just at Continued in the Comments on Instagram, CONTD in the comments. My podcast with my co-host JF Harris is on YouTube. It's just called The Mood Board. We're also on Instagram and TikTok as themoodboard.pdf. And then jessegoldman.work if you want to see my portfolio. What else is there to plug?
Your phone number?
Yeah, I'll put my social security in the show notes. I think that'll be helpful for people. This is really fun, man. Thank you so much for having me. I think you're doing a really quite a fine job with this podcast, and I think it's very cool to frame this around dads, because I'm a big proponent of, like, I don't know, we're also people. I think the job of a dad sometimes is to be like sturdy and invisible, and we need to come together.
Yeah, love it. Well, thanks for coming on.
Thanks, man. It's a lot of fun.